Then, one afternoon, out of nowhere, my phone rang. I looked at the screen and froze. It was my mother. My heart started pounding. After months of silence, why now? I answered, unsure of what I would hear. Maybe an apology. Maybe regret. Maybe they wanted to fix things. But what I heard instead shocked me more than anything else that had happened. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't say sorry. She went straight to the point. They were having financial problems. Bills were piling up. Things were really hard. And then she said it. "We were wondering if you could help us with some money." I couldn't believe it. The same people who threw me out with nothing, the same people who let me struggle alone, were now asking me for help. For a moment, I didn't even know what to say. My mind flashed back to that night outside the house, holding my bag, feeling abandoned and scared. All the pain came rushing back at once. But something else came too: clarity. I realized that in those months alone, I had become stronger than I ever was before. I had survived without them. I had built something on my own. And now the power dynamic had completely changed. The question wasn't whether I could help them. The question was whether I should. And that decision was harder than anything else I had faced so far. The weeks that followed were brutal. I had to grow up faster than I ever expected. I worked small jobs, saved every dollar, and tried to survive day by day. There were nights I slept in places I never thought I would: cheap motels, friends' floors, even my car once when I had nowhere else to go. Every day felt like a battle. But something inside me refused to break. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was anger. Maybe it was the pain of being abandoned by the people I trusted most. Whatever it was, it pushed me forward. Slowly, things started to change. I found a more stable job. I saved enough money to rent a tiny room. It wasn't much, just a bed, a chair, and a small window. But it was mine. For the first time since being kicked out, I felt a small sense of control over my life again. Months passed. And during that time, my parents never called. Not once. No messages, no apologies, nothing. It was like I had been erased from their lives. That hurt more than the homelessness itself, because deep down, I still hoped they would care. I still hoped they would regret what they did. But silence can be louder than words, and their silence told me everything I needed to know, or at least that's what I thought. I never imagined that the people who raised me, the ones who were supposed to protect me no matter what, would one day be the reason I had nowhere to sleep. It started with an argument, not even a huge one, just the kind of disagreement families have all the time. But that day, something was different. My parents were angrier than I had ever seen them before. Words were said that couldn't be taken back. Accusations were thrown at me, blaming me for things I didn't even do. And then, suddenly, my mother looked me straight in the eyes and said the words that would change my life forever. "If you don't like it here, then leave." I thought she didn't mean it. I thought it was just anger talking. But then my father walked to my room, grabbed a bag, and started throwing my clothes into it. That's when reality hit me. They weren't joking. They weren't cooling down. They were actually kicking me out. Within an hour, I was standing outside the house I grew up in, holding a bag with a few clothes, my phone, and less than $50 in my wallet. The door closed behind me, and just like that, I was on my own. I remember standing there in shock, thinking they would open the door again, that they would call me back, that this was some kind of lesson. But they didn't. Minutes passed, then an hour. Then the sun started going down, and I realized something terrifying. I was homeless. That first night was the hardest night of my life. I called friends, but most of them couldn't help. Some didn't answer. One let me sleep on their couch for a night, but I knew it wasn't a long-term solution. I barely slept, my mind racing with fear, confusion, and heartbreak. How could my own parents do this? What had I done that was so terrible? The questions kept repeating in my head, but there were no answers, only silence.